It all started with a simple, almost elegant lie. Imagine being promised a 50% profit on your money in just 45 days. Not in a year, not in 6 months, 45 days. This wasn't some back alley whisper in 1925. This was the promise broadcast across Boston in 1920. The man making the promise was an immigrant named Charles Ponzi, and his confidence was magnetic. He claimed he had a foolproof way to make money from international mail. People lined up around the block, their life savings clutched in their hands. They believed they were buying into a revolution in arbitrage. They were wrong. What they were actually buying was a ticket on a train destined to fly off a cliff. Ponzi wasn't investing their money in anything at all. He was just a conductor in a grand game of musical chairs. The money pouring in from new investors was used to pay off the old ones, creating the illusion of spectacular returns. This simple, brutal mechanism is what we now call a Ponzi scheme. It's a fraud that feeds on itself, growing larger and larger until it becomes too heavy to sustain its own weight. When it collapses, it detonates, leaving a crater of financial ruin and shattered trust. The name stuck, a permanent stain on the history of finance. The initial payments created a frenzy. People who got 50% didn't just walk away happy. They ran back with more money, and they brought their friends. The media amplified the hype. Ponzi became a local hero. He bought a mansion, wore expensive suits, but behind the curtain there was no magic, just IOUs and a ticking clock. This is the seductive nature of the beast. It doesn't look like a crime. It looks like an exclusive opportunity, a secret for the smart few. Charles Ponzi arrived in America with little more than a few dollars and a head full of ambition. He had tried and failed at several ventures before his big idea in 1919. It centered on the International Reply Coupon, or IRC. Buy in one country, redeem for stamps in another. With currency fluctuations, coupons bought cheaply abroad could theoretically be redeemed for higher value in the US. Ponzi claimed he could exploit this difference, arbitrage, to generate enormous profits. Give me your money. In 45 days, I give you back your principal plus 50% interest. To a public used to 3 or 4% a year, this was intoxicating. The story felt plausible. International finance and postal regulations. People saw the numbers and they dazzled. Early investors became proof. The truth was mundane and sinister. The arbitrage existed in theory, but it was impossible to scale. There weren't enough coupons in circulation. He barely tried to execute the strategy. He simply deposited new money into bank accounts. When an early investor cashed out, he paid them with a newer investor's money, robbing Peter to pay Paul. For 8 months, he was king of Boston, taking in $250,000 a day, living in extreme luxury. He even bought into a bank, cementing legitimacy. But the math is relentless. The scheme must constantly expand. It's a shark that must keep swimming. In August 1920, investigations exposed the fraud, and the entire house of cards came crashing down. At its core, a Ponzi scheme is brilliantly simple, a financial sleight of hand. The hook, exceptionally high, often guaranteed returns, with low risk. The investment is explained in vague, complex, secretive terms. The obscurity is intentional. Then comes the illusion of success, early payouts funded by newer investors. This single act is the engine that powers the entire fraud. It transforms skeptics into evangelists. The system appears to work perfectly. Viral expansion follows. Word-of-mouth credibility triggers a feedback loop. And more cash floods in. A Ponzi scheme is mathematically doomed. It requires exponential new investors. When withdrawals surge or markets turn, inflows can't keep up. Payments stop. The schemer disappears or is arrested. There was no investment, just a chain of IOUs that finally broke. Why do rational people hand over their savings? Psychology. Greed, or the longing for security, meets the fantasy of effortless high returns. Trust spreads through networks of affinity. We trust the person, so we trust their judgment. Social proof and urgency bypass due diligence. High returns, social proof, exclusivity. Perfect storm. The storm can overwhelm even savvy individuals. If Ponzi wrote the playbook, Bernie Madoff perfected it for the modern era. A pillar of Wall Street, former NASDAQ chair, managing money for the well-connected. He promised consistency, 10 to 12% year after year in any market. Exclusivity sold the status. He never explained his strategy, and few demanded it. Behind the facade, there was no trading. Client money went into a single bank account. Statements were fabricated. Withdrawals were paid with new deposits for decades. The 2008 crisis dried up inflows, $7 billion in redemptions, no money there. He confessed, arrested, an estimated $65 billion taken, from celebrities to ordinary retirees, losses everywhere. The damage extends far beyond direct victims. The most corrosive effect is the destruction of trust. Finance runs on trust. Massive frauds shatter faith in the entire system. Capital pulls back. Growth slows. Jobs vanish. Money flees to low-return havens, dampening expansion. Nonprofits suffer. Fewer scholarships, less research, reduced support for the arts and vulnerable. Investigations, court cases, recoveries, all costly. Ultimately, taxpayers help clean up the mess. The internet is a double-edged sword. Schemers scale fast, but investigators have new tools. The digital hydra evolves. Fake funds, trading bots, impossible returns cloaked in crypto complexity. Classic Ponzi pattern goes viral. When it collapses, organizers vanish behind anonymity. Influencer endorsements lend legitimacy and tap follower trust, knowingly or not. Yet, technology fights back. Regulators, analytics, and online sleuths expose frauds daily. It's an arms race. As awareness grows, fraudsters adapt. Red flags are consistent. High returns with little risk. Guaranteed double digits? It's a lie. If returns greatly beat benchmarks with no volatility, be suspicious. Lack of transparency and secrecy are major warnings. Ask for official documentation and independent statements, not just company PDFs. Beware pressure to act now. Step back. Take your time. Resist. Verify registrations. If withdrawing is hard or discouraged, that's a massive red flag. The faces change, excuses evolve, technologies advance. The underlying fraud is identical. Wealth built on air. Our best defense is education and doubt. Ask, where is my money? Who holds it? Are they registered? Audited? A pro welcomes scrutiny. A fraudster deflects. Share red flags. Slow down. Protect each other.